So you're gonna play it. Are you? Is it waiting? Okay, no, that's fine. It will has a delay.
Right.
Hello, everyone. If anyone can hear us, please write in the live chat. How's the audio quality?
Oh, no, it's live.
No,
It's a little slow.
22 people waiting. Super. That's how real support goes. They're already waiting for us.
So it's loading. Someone said, yo.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Super. Well, let's start right away. Welcome everyone to the UBports Q&A, streamed live from FOSDEM 2023 from Brussels in Europe, in case you don't know where Brussels is. So we're sitting here in a pretty public space. Please don't mind the background noise if you hear any. But it's so crowded and packed with people, we cannot find any other place to sit. So, well, we're going to make the best out of it. Joining me this week live, actually, are Rajanan, all the way up from Thailand.
Hello.
Hello. And Alfred, not so far away from Austria.
Hello, everyone.
Great. So again, we have prepared, of course, we can talk a little bit about our experiences from FOSDEM so far, what we have seen the last 1 or 2 days, what we have talked about with people, about the new things that will come maybe this year or maybe not. And we have a few questions also from the forum that we were going to take. We can also take questions from the live chat in the second half, basically. Yes, FOSDEM 2023. Finally, it's happening live again here in Brussels. We were, thanks to COVID, not able to travel the last year, so even they didn't do the event. I guess we pretty much enjoyed that we can go to this wonderful event again. It's like a 1 week event in 2 days, 5,000 talks. You cannot listen to any of them. And I spent the whole day on the UBports stand, because this year we had actually a stand where we can present our devices, where we can talk with people about Ubuntu Touch. So I completely wasted my feet because it hurts already everywhere standing around. My throat is also a bit sore. Talking very, very loudly with people about Ubuntu Touch and the future of UBports. And but anyways, it was really, really positive and motivating to see so many people coming to our stand and talking with us about the project. All right. If you both want to say anything, just interrupt me, because I love to talk. So yeah, first impressions, as I didn't see any talks, I only talked with people about it at the booth, but I guess that again, FOSDEM was a mega event for the open source community. There were a lot of interesting talks scheduled everywhere. We had the opportunity to see other people from other projects, especially, of course, the open source projects. I don't know, Postmarket OS, Sailfish, KDE guys. What else? Mobian, and so on. Yeah, it's also for us good for networking, for chatting with people about it, seeing what the others are doing. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for my 2 days. I didn't do any much more, and I enjoyed a lot of good food. Yeah. So we have actually a fourth guest that just arrived, and he's not on the picture now, but he's taking off his luggage. We could somehow bring you into the picture from behind. Hello, this is Lionel. He's also here. He's wearing a cap. You can see that the temperature outside is pretty much cold.
Yeah, it definitely allows for wearing that. Exactly.
Yeah. So outside it's really chilly. Rajanan brought also some protective clothes because if you're living probably in Thailand, not used to that temperatures at that time of the year.
That's right.
Yeah. So wonderful. What we would like to talk about? Give me some topics.
Well, the overall, I would like to talk for a short moment about my experience of the overall opinion of people and their surprise and the way that they approached us, and they really were surprised that we are still around, that this project is still alive. It's always the same thing. Every time someone mentions Ubuntu Touch, and someone around the corner hears that and says, they still exist, and it's always that thing. And it still makes me smile to see the people just being wondering about how this is going on and how far we actually have progressed with the project. Actually, so that is something that a lot of people are giving the whole project and the whole community a very big shout out for, because they appreciate what we're doing, and pretty interesting to see the for example, the talk that I gave about the Lemiri desktop. People were very confused about it first, but then I think they got it. They slowly got it, what it was doing, what Lemiri does, how it's supposed to work, and how some pieces fit together. I don't know. It's like seeing those people with a smile go away and have good conversations with them about various topics that revolve around those areas. I think that is something you can't get in any other way, right?
Just for the background, so Alfred had a talk on one of the dev rooms for mobile FOSS, and it was the first one in the morning. Yeah, it was quite early, but the room was quite full already at this point in time. Even people coming later, they didn't find a place to sit anymore. And he was giving a presentation of the phone, so basically connecting the phone to their projector, and then when the people realized that he is presenting from a phone, it was like, oh,
yeah, right.
So we can finally really give a hint about what convergence can be and how you can use it in a practical point of view. Yeah, you basically can see here are the slides on the phone, and it was being projected out there on a big screen, and it was just wonderful. And he walked away with just unplugging his phone, and there we are. Yeah, so everybody was like, "What happened?" Yeah,
right.
And yeah. I think that's one of the biggest achievements, that there is really practical use case you can demonstrate any time, without much preparation. It just works now.
Just imagine if how far spread the technology is. Like for example, with HDMI cables being everywhere, where VGA cables used to be everywhere. Just imagine if every place that you had to give a presentation at, like for example this place. You just get your phone with you and you just plug it into a USB-C cable, maybe have a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse with you, and it's just as prevalent as the HDMI cable is now. Just think of that. If that would ever be possible, I don't know, but it would be so nice to see that happen, right?
You can also carry the small adapters and
or carry a small adapter,
be connected immediately. So that's really a nice thing.
Right.
Good. All right. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I guess I can talk about my own experience too. So this is my absolute first time in the FOSDEM, although it's not the first time in Europe. And so the experience has been that it's there's so much talks, and I'm kind of surprised how many talks are there, and so in a way I'm just unable to just look for talks anymore. So as it happens, I just abandoned finding for talks and just stay at the stand and talks to people that come up and ask about Ubuntu Touch. So this year we collaborate with Linux Linux in mobile. So
something like this, yeah.
Yeah. So and at the booth we have both Ubuntu Touch but also Mobian, Postmarket OS, and the Selfish sharing the stands. And lots of people came up and talked with me and talked with other people, and many people asked interesting questions. For example, if it's possible, if Ubuntu Touch use the mainline, if Ubuntu Touch use the mainline graphical interface like KMS, GBM, but that also sparked the conversation about how we can bring those visitors to Ubuntu Touch and Android-based devices if they have nested VLAN mode, because of our Ubuntu Touch architecture. could allow that. It's just not implemented yet. And so yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, I did also listen to talks, but not as many.
Mm.
So overall, it's a wonderful experience. And even though I might not come back next year because the air, air ticket is pretty expensive. But
Mm.
yeah, I will definitely come back again.
Great. Thanks for the good experience. Good to have you here. Yeah, and actually, it's the first time that we meet in person. So I think we know Rajanan now since at least 2015, 16, or something like that. Yeah. And it's really good to see somebody in person after such a long time when you haven't been on many calls, many written conversations, yeah, and you basically want to know what's the person behind all that. Yeah. So that was a nice opportunity. I was really delighted that this happened. Yeah. So yeah, if it's not next year, it's okay, but come back someday. Yeah. Or maybe we come to Thailand if there is any interesting thing for like conferences in Asia or so. We might step by or so. Let's see. We need to push mobile phones into Asia more. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that would be the
so
thing. Yeah.
so at the booth there's a guy that come to advertise basically the Force Asia. So actually there exists
Mm.
a conference there. So it happens in Singapore, and I
Mm.
mean it's like
Lovely.
1/5 of the air ticket cost to go
Mm.
there than to go here.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm not sure like how many people in Thailand will be interested in like alternative
Yeah.
mobile braking
Mm.
system at all. But in Singapore, maybe yeah. So yeah, if everyone else here can arrange things, maybe we can meet again at the Force Asia.
Yeah, that would be great. Let's see. We check it out. Singapore is a great place. I have been there already. Yeah, I would love
Oh,
to come there again. I need just an excuse. Really good. Lionel, what's there
Oh,
from the
just
back
to
seat?
say hello. I'm very happy to be here. I don't know which distance I should.
Just scream into the microphone.
Okay, okay. Hello, everybody. And I'm very happy to meet everyone physically, because 5 years of chatting with everyone,
Yes.
and now we can see everybody. So just happy to be here, but very tired.
Thank you. Yeah. Great. There was one question from live chat for Alfred already. We take this, I guess, immediately because it fits the topic. Why didn't you use document viewer for the presentation? Yeah.
Well, I was not expecting it to look. The document viewer for me sounds like something I use PDFs with, like open up LibreOffice writer document, for example, but not a presentation. And for a presentation, I thought maybe let's just go the safe route and have an HTML5 presentation be rendered out, make use of that, and present using that. And I mean, it would have been fun if it basically gave another hint what to fix next, because we probably need a full screen mode for the browser on the desktop maybe, for that to be really useful. Next time I would like to try it with LibreOffice though, given the presentation using LibreOffice, and just as a challenge, whether it works or not. It would have been very, very interesting to do it now, but it was not there yet. So I don't know. I might try next time, and maybe I'll give it a shot with the next opportunity with Document Viewer. I don't know.
All right. Great. Yeah, what should I say? We had during these conversations a lot of questions about porting and how it's running on all the phones or not on the old phones. But remarkably, we were able to show an advance in the PinePhone development. So basically, we got a PinePhone Pro port up and running only in the last few days, and we were able to just show on our stand the PinePhone Pro with Ubuntu Touch in a very good state already. People were also impressed by that. A lot of people that came along said, "Well, I have a PinePhone at home, not the Pro one. What are you going to do about that?" And I said, "Well, maybe we have a chance that we also bring the old PinePhone on par with this PinePhone Pro port, because basically it should be the same. There is not so much difference.
Yeah, maybe the audio configuration differs a little bit, but other than that, it should be good to go.
But honestly, I must say, I also showed the PinePhone Pro to Pine64. We were able to, because they're also here, they have also a stand. They were also very impressed. So for me, this means 2023, PinePhone is back in business for UBports. We just have to find maybe one or two other people that want to take care of it. And a big shout out and thanks to Oren, who did this board for us so far. Keep up the good work. A few minor things we probably need to iron out. Currently, it doesn't sleep well. It's just like that. And camera doesn't work yet and so on. But actually, it's in usable state. It has a really great performance. So that looks very promising. This is one of the takeaways from FOSDEM and the preparations. We seem to be able to unblock the PinePhone again, be it the Pro or the old one, let's see. But it's already a success with the Pro, because honestly, as I see from the hardware performance, the Pro is the much better choice if you want to really to have it fluent. Yeah, but it should be possible on both actually. Yeah, and that's already a 2004 actually. That's the interesting thing. So it's running Ubuntu Touch 2004 on the PinePhone Pro. I think it's a great achievement. Yeah. Good. What else? I'm just thinking about.
Well, adding to the PinePhone Pro, the interesting thing is because we are using the Mir client support in Mesa right now, until we have a fully Wayland capable environment for all types of apps. As soon as we get there, we will drop those patches for sure. But until then, we have those patched Mesa changes that allow Mesa phones and tablets to run with Lumiri in Mir client mode. But the PinePhone Pro was interesting to me because the performance of I know, and it's a cliche by now. It's a meme almost, but the blur was flabbergasting. It was interesting to see the performance of this thing running something like that on a fully free software phone with the performance that the old Mesa that we were basing on top of has. If it was a newer Mesa, it would probably even get even better performance on and OpenGL compliant fixes. So in that sense, it's like mind-blowing to see the PinePhone Pro like going from 0 to that level in such a short amount of time as well. So I know.
And also, I confirmed with Pine64 that the PinePhone Pro will be around for some time. They're not planning to replace this quickly. So it might be really worth to polish the port, and then people can be will be able to buy this stuff and flash Ubuntu Touch with just putting it on the SD card, or even better, I just connected USB cable, flash one partition, done. We don't even need an installer for that. I mean, you can have an installer with it, but what a mess with an installer if you just have to flash one partition image and it's just working. Yeah? All right, yeah, that is really, really great that we have an option here, or again some outlook that this can work. Good. Let's see.
There was another question.
The recording of the stream will be saved. Yes, it's being saved here actually on the YouTube videos page of UBports. So after the stream has finished, it should be available after some minutes already. And we store the Q&A recordings for quite some time. Maybe all of them are stored. I don't know. We have now Q&A 122, I guess. So you can also see the first ones. I was looking actually back in the archive some time ago, looking at the first Q&As we made and how unprofessional everything was. Yeah, how unprepared, and we were talking just crazy.
Well, has anything of that changed really?
No, not much. A little bit maybe. But also technical faults, audio quality crappy, and so on. So the first Q&As were really rough. They were also not done with that platform that we use now. We're basically using something called StreamYard, and that goes directly into YouTube. We had Google Hangouts connected with YouTube, and it was not as good. But go back in time if you like. Go to our videos page and scroll down to the very end, and then say, okay, I'm going to watch Q&A number 1, Q&A number 2 maybe.
I believe with the recent YouTube change, you might have to go to the live tab specifically, because now YouTube separates like actual video and live out.
It can be, yeah. But you will find it. If you search for Q&A in the search button, probably it should pop up, yeah. So yeah, a lot of Q&A is stored there. Yes, the picture, the screenshot of the first Q&A is just good old Mario sitting in his room with the damaged door in the background and just speaking about something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the one time when the headset broke down and it fell, or when Dalton tilted his mic and it made an exploding pop everywhere because just his new mic stand fell down. So we had a lot of interesting fun there.
I remember, and that's one of the things where I was talking about a few things that related to porting. And I don't know, do you remember, Rajan, when this meme got up with GStreamer adventures in GStreamer land? Do you remember that? And the Q&As? Have you ever seen that? Like that?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I am a goldfish.
So what I just reported about some things that were happening in the porting corner and in the integration into the video things. And I remember some smiley faces back then, and some people would almost crack up. And I'm glad that it did not crack up, that it did not, push through that limit and make them laugh all day. But it was quite an interesting thing that just popped up in my head now that you say about reminiscent of the old days type of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, Amy, of course, update your Qt. That's very important.
We
Yeah?
heard that today already.
We're actually gonna update Qt at some point in time. That's actually maybe a question for Rachana because I also heard it on the stand. What about Qt 6? And I said I don't have a real answer for that now. If we are able to upgrade at some point in time, but maybe not now with 2004 probably, but maybe thereafter at some point. Yeah.
So the way that our integration works, it uses a lot of Qt internal, so it's not easy to move event, for example, from Qt 5.9 to Qt 5.12 back in the day event. And then so first order of things will be moving to Qt 5.15, which because Qt went into so Qt put some effort into making sure that like normal applications can be compiled both against Qt 5.15 and Qt 6. We should take advantage of that, and that's the first step. But also we have to also check the internal usage of ours to make sure that it will be able to use Qt6 and do its things. And I can already tell you there that the move to Qt 5.15 will not be easy either. I already spot one issue with the Lumray UI toolkit, which is the toolkit layer, the KML components, and that's something that has to be fixed before we even think about Qt6.
Right.
Yeah. I think we had to take our time on that, and it's also not super important for us, I guess, because I can see that our app developers, anyways, they are happy with what they have, or they are just learning how to develop apps. So any Qt will be fine for the moment.
Yeah. And it's also, if anything, I think it would be interesting to maybe when we go Qt 6, whenever that is, if we go with doing the Lumira UI toolkit possibly first, because then the application developers could just take a look at that and make it work for that use case, where we gradually replace components with from 5 to 6, whatever the case might be, and just like pointing out a possible way to go forward here. But I mean, Qt 6 is something that has changed, and it took some time to grow. They removed a lot of components from the initial release. The initial Qt 6 release had no Qt multimedia, I believe, so no video playback and stuff like that. Qt web engine might have also jumped in a little bit later. I don't know.
I believe those components are already added in later Qt 6 releases in like Qt 6.2.
Yeah,
They are
right.
supposed to be back.
Yeah, so it
And-
took some time, right?
And I mean As you speak about that, I remember that the Qt multimedia itself changed a lot
Mm.
in the way that backends are written and stuff. And we use Qt multimedia for both our camera and our video playback support. So that will be another challenge that we will have to solve, and it won't be easy.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, but still, there's one additional question regarding that. If we finish 2004, if there is a time frame for updating versions even newer. Well, there is only one newer version than 2004. It would be 2204. And yes, actually, the plan is to take the momentum basically from the 2004 upgrade. Maybe we all need a break in between to make some holidays, yeah, when it's finally launched.
Right.
But then we're already dreaming about continuing to update everything to 2204. You're a little bit closer to development at the moment. I don't know what you discussed internally, but that's what I heard back from Mike and so on. If that is still the plan to push even further immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically the plan. Well, so but also the possibilities is also that we can also like skip 2204 and like make sure that we can upgrade to 2404 when that's out or something like that. It's a possibility, and we have not decided yet. And yeah, so but currently the plan is to continue on to 2204.
Mm. Yeah, that's actually good news, yeah, because we're closing the gap further, yeah. Okay.
See people happy about this.
You have a live question, you can come around and just talk it. Are you asking? Yeah, true, it's you.
Right.
There are people in the room, you can ask questions. No. All right. So there's actually a nice comment. Kudos to Rajanan. Would love to see more live coding sessions from Rajanan. You
Right.
want to give live coding
Right.
sessions again?
Live what?
Live
Live
coding.
coding sessions.
Coding? Yeah, I look to do it again. I just because I'm just don't know what kind of topics are you interested in. Are you interested in me like sitting aimlessly trying to fix bugs, or are you interested in like targeting one big thing, something like that? And I mean, I feel like I'm aiming for the latter, but I at the moment in 2004 land we are in the late phase and mostly fixing bugs, and I'm not sure if that will be interesting contents for you. Yeah, but if there's something interesting enough that I think would warrant a live stream, yeah, of course I will live again. And also, but also if you're interested in something in particular, feel free to maybe comment in the YouTube video, or maybe drop me a message in the development group or something like that.
Or in the forum, there we can also say in the OS category, just start a thread and say, I want a Rajanan live code on ... and then just write some suggestions, and you can pick something from there maybe.
Yeah.
Right. So actually, we already have an hour into the show. We're gonna transition a little bit to the questions from the forum now. As we speak of the forum, we got some for this week, and the Q&A was on short notice. Excuse for that, and it's also an unusual time on this time of day and on Sunday.
Yeah.
But we got a few questions actually.
Yeah.
You
The
want to
next
say
question.
something?
The next question from you, I believe.
The next question is from the guy here. Do you want to read it out?
Plans to improve.
He should.
Come here.
Wait a second. We take the live opportunity to have live questions.
Exactly.
Are there plans to improve the documentation regarding app development with UTO4 with 2004?
Good point, Leon. What do you think about documentation for app development? You probably see the same gap.
For me,
Yes.
oh yeah, I started with quite nothing. No, yeah. I think that building application for Ubuntu Touch, first you have just to be familiar with the Qt framework. I think you can build Hello World apps just as normal desktop application, and you can later see what the specific about Ubuntu Touch platform. But you can start just to do some small stuff that like I did, for example, and then you will see some components, platform specific things such as Content Hub, how to share documents, how to access to the file system, such things. But it's not an easy way, of course, but now it's getting better. I think someone in the forum answered,
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, there is a new document that is very, very, very nice. I think we can be grateful for the documents that you see now. It's a very nice work they did. They did very nice work. And to start, there is also meme cars tutorials. Also,
But this one specifically is about upgrading actually apps to 24, and this is also very important because what we are lacking now currently is if you look in the open store for 24, it's still quite empty. It's not as empty as it was, but we are still missing a lot of apps that we are used, even we as a developers using those apps, and might be missing them now. So helping with upgrading apps to 24 is very much appreciated. And so if you are an app maintainer or an app maintainer that didn't upgrade their apps to 24, please do it or nudge the people to do it soon, because the people will just miss their apps, and it's in some way something critical for us also.
is there anything about it? How to switch, how to rename the components? Or I think I just saw something in the Telegram groups, but
Auto renaming is with Z on command line. No, I'm just kidding, but just make a global search and replay.
yeah, it's kind of
maybe not the best thing.
Yeah.
But so there's on the forum, there's a documentation for how to upgrade the apps to 24. But yes, to answer the question, of course we try to improve the situation with the documentation, but currently, because so many things are still to be done, I guess documentation is again the unloved child, and everybody just ignores it for the moment. Yeah, so it might take until later that we can really improve it. Yeah? But of course, we also open for any contribution, help whatsoever on that. Yeah? I, for example, have found a nice way how to do asynchronous stuff for teleports now, which is improving basically how we can handle a request reply pattern where you send out something to somewhere. Doesn't need to be a server, but can be, and then you have to await the result. And somehow this is for me in QML, this was always hard to grasp. If you come from other programming languages, from other platforms where they have other async patterns, but then it was made a nice wrapper actually by one of the guys who is into Qt development so much. Is his name Benoit? I'm not quite sure. But this guy actually, he did Quick Flux. This is this library for having this single instance store things in QML apps. And with that added to teleports, it suddenly is very easy to just write the request, put a lambda inside for the reply. It will get picked up in a separate thread, awaited for everything nice. Yeah? So you can wrap basically this async pattern. Maybe I will make a small extension of the manual for that, because I guess it improves the apps for others as well. All right.
Next question, I would say.
Yeah.
There's a question by IXSVF. Do you agree that 2004, pardon me, to be a kind of a first release of UBports Ubuntu Touch, basically saying that it is something different than what it used to be before, I guess. And I don't think that's the case. I don't know.
I also wouldn't agree, because honestly, for the users, it should not change much,
Right.
Especially the look and feel. So ideally, it looks like exactly the same. You can use it the same. You have the same apps. Everything works the same. It's just everything newer, and we have more capabilities to build new stuff and build stuff in a different way. But it doesn't feel for me like the first release for us. Already the first OTA was so challenging and how to say, yet motivating that we had so many first releases since 5 years.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say it's a first. It feels like a major milestone, a major achievement. It was blood, sweat, and tears in some ways. There were a lot of internal discussions.
It would also mean that basically neglect our heritage, basically, to a certain degree, because it is something that we took over from someone else and treated as if it was ours, of course, to some degree, right? Because we have to take care of it now, so it's a certain responsibility. But I don't think it's like this completely out of picture, different thing than what it used to be before. Because as long as you stay with a project, and a lot of us either got to know the project very early on or contributed back when it was still a canonical thing. So I do think that, or some jump in afterwards, as I did. So I do think that it is still the same pot. It's nothing is stirring the pot in that sense. So it's all this. It's still the same thing. You just look. It's just got a different by XYZ stuck under it. But I think that's basically marketing, right? To a certain degree.
Any more comments?
Have you talked about the Mike announcement about Lomery on Debian? I think he released lots of stuff.
You want to say anything about that?
No,
I didn't read anything.
Yeah, in the development channel. I think Mike, I can say very much about it.
So basically, Mike announced that Lomery, for the packaging for Lomery into Debian has been accepted to the new queue. So basically, so if you don't know how Debian packaging works, it's basically in the pending state for licensing review. I can't remember if it's already accepted, like past that pending state yet. Could you please check real quick in the channel
What do you want to know?
if
It's in
Mike
pending
says
state or not at the moment.
if in the new queue or in
It's
in,
not freeze the yet. The announcement. As a side note, yes, I have released.
So basically, where we want to go with that is that the Lomery desktop environment is in the Debian repositories and can be installed on any Debian-based distro. Therefore, and also getting the seal of Debian is a very, very high quality approval of what we are doing, especially for the packaging, of course. So getting to that mark means also that we're getting more recognized. And that's the plan here, why we're pushing so hard to get this into Debian. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of boring work sometimes, but it would be a gold standard in the open source world to say we are accepted by Debian with the Lomery desktop environment and a lot of parts around it. All right. So, but that was this question. The next one is also very peculiar.
Yeah. My girlfriend used my UT device for a few days. She asked me about this. If we are uploading a file from an app like Teleports and we need to switch to another app, the uploading of the file on Teleport stops. This has benefits, but at the same time, it's not so convenient. Is this a design path to keep, or just a technical limitation that may be solved in the years to come? Thank you. In principle, there are certain ways to do uploads of HTTP transfer both ways, uploads and downloads. But I don't know how Teleports does this, or Telegram for that matter, what they use. I assume it's more than just an HTTP request that you can set off.
No, it's not. It's by
right. So that would need the background service proposal that we've been thinking of and not working on, but theorizing of for years now. And all the time, every time some different thing comes up, it basically delays the thing doesn't look the same as it looked back when I was proof of concepting it on Selfish OS. And the things have changed so much so because voice over LTE and video calls being integrated into the background in a background service. How is that supposed to work? The permission system, the audio, access to the microphone, that can't work easily because we don't know yet which application to put the permission prompt on top of, because it would be a different process in a different C group probably. And I don't know, there's so many technical hurdles to fix this properly, because the difference to Android, for example, Android runs everything, those Zygote processes, they fork off, and basically you have those this little VM processes running services, the applications, and taking over intents and stuff like that. The way that works is completely different from what we can provide on that level with the resources that we are able to pull off, right? So designing it in a way that allows those types of use cases properly, uploading a teleports file in the background, doing WebRTC in the background, might be harder to solve, and for app developers maybe harder to implement as well, because you need to think of a two-layered system. You have the service and then the front end to that.
But so for the technical explanation, teleports is basically because we're using the official library from Telegram. We're just sending a request with a path to say upload this, and everything else is not transparent to us. So it has its own upload. It also needs to be encrypted, of course, because this is done with the general encryption key. That's just uploading this through there for the empty protocol, and that's a thing that is completely not visible to us. But what I could think about is when we are sending an app to the background, like in this case, and the app knows, okay, this is one task that takes a little bit longer. I'm gonna sleep afterwards, but please let me finish that thing. That the system just says, okay, you get a time slice of another, I don't know, 5 seconds, 1 minute, which is not so much, 30 seconds, to finish your task. Then you're being asked again, and then you say, okay, I'm again not ready, maybe another 15 seconds. So try to a little bit avoid what's happening and then suspend it, because the app has something urgent to do that would improve the experience of the user.
Right.
And maybe the upload of the file is really just short. Yeah?
Right.
And I got also asked on the stand a lot about background activity on those apps, because people are used to this. I don't agree that it needs to be entirely for all the bells and whistles around a background service split, which would need it for incoming calls and all of that. It's true, yeah. But at least giving the app a little bit longer life cycle for that moment could help in some cases.
Right.
Maybe that's the takeaway here.
Right. And I've also talked with a few people about UX related things where we could, I mean, for lack of a better word, shame those applications that waste battery, right? So at least give a hint, hey, this application has requested extended lifetime, life cycle time slice for such and such minutes, I don't know,
For example, yeah.
which could be abused, right? So we don't want that situation to happen. We don't want application developers to abuse the system and waste battery life.
Warning, this app has compromised your battery.
Right.
Close it immediately. Yeah,
for
it's
example,
dangerous.
When you open the spread and you put it somewhere in the corner or something, that would be sufficient, I guess. Like when you have this open, the spread open, and underneath the application icon, it would just
an empty battery. This app is draining your battery too much. Yeah?
For example,
well, yeah, that's a good idea. We might talk about this a little bit in detail, how much effort it would be. But I would love this extension thing, especially for teleports, because it does sometimes a little bit more when you switch to another app, especially uploading. I can understand. You want to upload this, you can already read something in the browser, for example, and you're just sending a file to someone. You want to finish that quickly. Why you have to keep it open and unlocked until it's actually being sent? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you very much. Next one, I can also take this. What about the desired partnership with Fairphone and therefore YouTube pre-installed on the Fairphone 4? So yes, we are talking about this since a few weeks, months, or whatsoever. Basically, Fairphone is interested to cooperate with us on bringing the Fairphone 4 in a state where it can be pre-installed in their factory, basically, and sent out directly from the web shop. So the state is that because Fairphone is a company that is working with a certain quality criteria and quality checks, well, we need actually to present the Fairphone 4 in a state that they can test it and they accept it according to a few test plans that they have. They have sent us some test plans already that are very much focused on Android use case, of course. But at least they said they want to run the modem and data or radio tests with us. And it's pretty much easy. We stopped the discussion before Christmas or in the last quarter somewhere. because we said we're probably gonna focus on 2004 with that. It makes no sense to test it on 1604. So when 2004 port for Fairphone 4 is in a state where we can pass the tests, then we will continue with that. Yeah? And that's actually a great opportunity to see how a mobile vendor is actually testing their devices. They're not doing this themselves in the Fairphone headquarters. They have actually a partner company that does all the testing. So we would have to deliver our test plans there, how to do. And for example, there is one test on the plan that I really cannot fulfill in my home. It's testing emergency call. Yeah? So it's completely forbidden to test emergency call. And the side note says, if you are located in the UK, tell the operator that this is a test. Yeah? Come on, this will not work in Austria. You cannot just call emergency service, say, I'm testing it. Yeah? They will just come to your home and say, look, you're paying a fine now because you abused the emergency call. Yeah?
Right.
I don't know what's wrong in UK with them. Yeah? They say, yeah, it's a test, okay, and they just hang up again.
Maybe they meant that like the mobile operator, tell the mobile operator that I'm going to make a test emergency call so that when the call actually placed, the mobile operator doesn't route
Yeah,
it to
maybe.
the
Yeah,
emergency operator. That's possibility, but I don't know.
It's very weird. Yeah, so
I won't risk it.
Yeah, I really have to ask him how they're doing this in practice. Yeah, how they're testing emergency calls. Yeah, so, but it's on the list. Yeah, and so we will see how that goes on. Give us a little bit more time with it. I guess it's fair to wait for the 2004 port being finished, and it's nearly finished actually. I don't see so much problems with the Fairphone 4, but we don't want to waste the time with Fairphone on the old Xenial image, and then we have to redo those tests. Yeah, that makes not much sense. Yeah. All right, next one. The notch on Fairphone. Oh, it's also Fairphone 4 related. Experimental patch for the notch on Fairphone 4. Is the way we can test it out? That's a good question. I have to ask the guy who did it. So basically, if we have that top notch intruding the area of the indicators, we have already an experimental patch for Lumiri to know about the cutout and then move the indicator icons around that. Let me come back to this. I will probably answer that later because I'm honestly not the state. I don't have the state for that. Okay, next one. Oh, Mr. T, 10,001. Are you going to leave UT 1604 available to legacy devices? No further updates, obviously, unless someone takes that on. As a fork when stable 24 comes to the mainstream, it would be a shame since it's stable, works, and it's fun to play with. Yes, basically the system image server channels for the moment, they can stay like they are. We could actually redirect them on 2004, so then people would be force migrated, but I think it's too early for that. And honestly, the old devices that never will get 2004, the channel will not move. It will stay as it is. We're not going to delete this for the moment. It's also not that much of a deal in terms of storage space. We can afford this. So yes, I guess the answer is yes for the moment. That brings me to the apps. Would you still remain available for 1604 after stable is 24? That's another good question. If the open store team leaves the 1604 apps around, I would have to ask actually, because it's not in our infrastructure, and we cannot decide if they want to keep them or not. But I can ask them if they want to keep them for some time. I guess yes. It's also not that much of a storage space. And we need them still because until all the devices that can translate to 2004 are actually being ported and fixed, we will talk about this end of year maybe. I don't want to destroy anybody's hope, but getting all the devices that are potentially ready for 2004 to get them there will take some time. And the apps as well, Okay, next one. Is it possible for you to use UBports in a retro console with mainline kernel? Could it be a future for the OS? In the future web, we'll see any native UBports and Godot. Something is possible, but not native. Retro console with mainline kernel. Oof, what could this be? A retro gaming console?
Probably something like those RetroArch types of things. Are those meant possibly?
Well,
I never played around with that, so I don't know. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a like stupid, maybe not so stupid idea that I had. and that was just imagining it's not an idea, but the idea is to revive something that has been around, and maybe play around with a TV type of deal and make Lumiri work on a TV. That's the same question, right? That's the
kind of. Yeah.
So I don't know when people find the time to do so, they can do it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm also out of the game. I don't have a retro console anyways, and if I would, I don't know if I would love to work on that specifically, but it technically probably possible, at least until this thing, or when this thing can boot a Linux distro in some way. Then you could also put Lumiri there or whatever. The mainline kernel, actually, as we said, for the PinePhone, it's mainline. We are quite fine with that. It's not a matter of the kernel if you can run Ubuntu Touch or Lumiri. I mean, to a certain degree, it is a matter of the kernel, but with the usual mainline kernels now, it should not be a big deal. But honestly, for us, for the core team, no capacity. Don't even think we can do this. There were also some specific questions, like the guy who wanted to know if you can have your keyboard. What was it in the talk that wanted to have the?
Oh yeah, the virtual trackpads.
They wanted the virtual trackpad that appears when you connect an external screen.
Yeah.
If this is a library that he can repurpose in another project, and Alfred said no, it's integrated. But this guy kept insisting that we need to split this out in a library so he can use it. So please, guys, if you want to do something and it's not out of the box, at least try to help us to understand it a little bit better from the use case point of view. And then also, please understand if you're saying, no, we cannot do it, you probably have to do it yourself.
Right.
Okay. More questions. Can you show us which phones are you daily driving?
Sure.
Basically, Fairphone 4 at the moment.
I'm also running the Fairphone 4 right now, but because I have my Pixel 3a in the hotel. Please don't rob me right now. Don't take the opportunity, please. But
Good question. What's your daily phone?
Well, so this is a little bit embarrassing.
That doesn't matter. Everybody can understand this.
So because I still daily drive an Android phone because in Thailand the mobile banking is really prevalent, and even with like the Android compatibility layer, it won't fly because those apps specifically check for so-called safety net, which will not ever pass in like emulator setup. And so that's the reason I still use an Android phone, unfortunately. So it's just a Samsung Galaxy A33. So it has a nice color.
And it has 5 cameras or so, or 4 cameras, or flashlight distance measuring, 3 cameras, something like this.
I don't know.
Too many eyes on the back.
And I chose this phone specifically because Samsung's commitment to upgrade, because they promised that they will provide 4 years of Android upgrade and 5 years of security upgrade, which is like the base in class, and also like this is kind of the mid tier, not like the top tier, and they promised this, and so that's why I chose to go with them. But of course you can't beat Ubuntu Touch like 10 years support.
Right.
And that's something that's the one of the reason if someone want to choose Ubuntu Touch, and that's our commitment to support devices to make sure it can outlive the manufacturer's support.
For the lofts, I also showed the Samsung S3 Neo again on the stand. It's a very crappy thing from 2014 or so. We showed the Nexus 5, which is 2013. We showed a 10-year-old device that is still usable. It's crisp, it's snappy. When you scroll through a web page, it's still totally super. People were impressed that we showed that old device and we're running all the same images, and we don't need really different versions of the OS because the device is so old. No, it's just the same. Lionel, what's your device?
Xperia X. from Alfred. I'm some percent dependent of Alfred because my next one will be a Pixel 3a. I already developed with this one, but I'm waiting from stability, and now I think it's ready. You do it. Yeah. No precious. Yeah, I like it. I live with some bugs, but it's okay.
Yeah, the Xperia X. It took me some time to figure out the issues with the Pixel 3a in the meantime, and then all of a sudden JinkPad coming in and other devices coming in, and it's hard to keep up with. So if there's anyone, that's a little call for help for those that would like to help, would have some understanding, or if not, at least are willing to learn. If you want to help me maintain the Xperia export, occasionally send patches or something like that. I mean, I would totally appreciate that, and we could like make sure that in case I personally don't find the time to maintain it anymore myself, to give it over to someone else. I don't know who would be interested in taking it over and maybe join the team even. So the team size increases as well. Would be cool.
Yes, please help us porting.
Well, speaking of old devices, the 2004 upgrade will have an impact on that, because so in 2004 it's no longer viable to continue using Upstart as the init system, so we transition to systemd, and systemd comes with its own Linux kernel requirement. So that means that some older devices that use like old kernel might not be able to make it. There's certainly a way to make it work. I've heard Selfish OS, which also use systemd to ask their init system to run on older Linux kernel. But yeah, be prepared that for some devices you may not be able to have 2004.
Yeah. There's one last question, but it's very peculiar, so I want to read it out also. Has anyone on the team ever thought about making a Ubuntu-based lightweight system similar to the Android-based software on the Punkt MP02? I don't know what the Punkt MP02 is. So probably nobody has ever tried. Yeah? And it's really hard for such specific things to say if anybody would love to try it out. Yeah. I also don't know what the lightweight system is, but I guess Ubuntu Touch is coming from a desktop distro. It's not really lightweight, we can say. It's also a little bit more demanding on the hardware, as we can see in some corners. But trimming it down to something that is more lightweight, I guess it would create a second track of Ubuntu Touch. We just don't have the manpower for doing that. So,
Right.
I don't think we will ever try something like this at the moment. Yeah.
Right. But there's also the question about, for example, the reception that I got from people who just played around with the shell and its performance and just dragging windows around, resizing them, and the animations that we have, how snappy they were. They were blown away. They really liked that, and they couldn't believe that a smartphone is capable of delivering that. Completely underestimating the capabilities of a modern smartphone, right? So I do think that we do still have an opportunity to make it a little bit better, like maybe some mere Android platform integration stuff that could improve performance, but it's already so good that it could potentially, considering the hardware requirements, also be a lightweight desktop for others to use in their embedded systems, because this is embedded. The desktop is performant enough. Depends on the hardware, I guess, and the driver integrations, I would say, that are in place for that to happen. But I could see that work out to a certain degree. I mean, not too many background services and a handful of tools that are pre-installed, and you have a lightweight system, right? Pretty much. Right.
All right. That marks the end of the show, basically, because we're already 1 hour into that, and it passed very fast, very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
We had the opportunity to spend 1 hour with you guys out there. We had quite some listeners, and probably send it around as usual in all the groups. They're linked to the recording.
I do think those two fine gentlemen over here, they should also join
Yes.
and jump over here.
So finally, yeah, we need to introduce actually this guy. Too shy. They're not coming over. Will they come? Yeah. So hello. This is actually here. This is Vince, our porter for the OnePlus 2, the OnePlus 3, 3T, OnePlus 5 also basically. And what's the next project? 6, a little bit? Or
Yeah,
no?
we'll have a look at the 6.
Yeah, we'll look at the 6. Yeah,
And I
very
need to
good.
finish for the 7, but yeah.
Exactly. This guy you probably only know because you never appear on any camera or
I'm
so.
shy, so I'm happily from the forum. I'm a moderator on the forum there, and a happy user of. Thank you for a great job on the Pixel 3a.
Glad you like it.
Yeah.
Also, Apple will help us in the future with the Q&A preparations a bit more. We agreed to that. So when we basically try to make the Q&As maybe a little bit more regular again, not just so infrequent intervals, and that's with his help probably possible.
So,
yeah. So let's get this a little bit more into shape. Great. So last words to say. Anything?
Maybe
Oh, there are more people coming.
Oh,
Okay, well, come over here. Come over here.
Perfect timing.
Woo! More hoodies and T-shirts.
This is going to be hard, but I don't know.
Who are you?
Yeah, coming closer. Diogo, say something.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Hope
Who
you're,
doesn't know Diogo?
many people, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're all doing well. And see you in an event very soon, hopefully.
Yeah, probably in Portugal.
Maybe. We don't know.
Good.
So,
Come forward.
hello.
Anyone? Hello.
Thanks for the team making this happen. So that's really nice.
Very good. Mom, you want to say something or just say hi?
No, I want to say something. I want to say that I had a really nice FOSDEM, and everybody who was not there missed a lot, and you should be there the next time.
Great. Thank you very much. Also, thank you very, very much for the help on the stand on 2 days. You just spent all the time possible there explaining again and again the same thing to all the interested people. Yeah, selling our merch, and we basically have these things in the store. If you like to get cool hoodies, keychains, lanyards, and so on, you can also order this in our online store, of course.
Yeah.
But we really sold a lot of stuff, so people got interested into this. Yeah. Thank you very much for the people who bought something, because it's a cool donation also towards the foundation. It was really great, yeah. So I would say on one of the commands, 1, 2, 3 or so, we just say goodbye, everyone, and yeah, see you on the next Q&A probably. Bye.
Bye.
Whoop. Oh my God.
There we
Now.
go.